Now, normally I don't do videos like this pertaining to happenings in the entertainment world, but quite frankly, I felt I needed to just because of the larger implications of what I'm seeing. So, as you can see, this is singer, I guess, actor? I don't know if there's ever been anything. But anyway, singer Ginuine, you know, singing Pony and So Anxious and several other songs. But anyway, he is over in England shooting the UK version of Big Brother. And apparently there was a transgender woman on the show, and they were talking, and she basically asked him, would he date her? And, he said, well, if you were trans, then no. And so he says that she tried to kiss him, to which he was like, no. He kind of rebuffed it and moved away and was like, So he did that. The pinheads on the internet are accusing this brother of, and I'm going to just use this word once to describe what people are saying, but transphobic, which, sidebar, let me just stop right there. First of all, it's a stupid word, okay? Words and terms have meanings, okay? We break that word down. The word phobic, which is phobia, does not fear, okay? I'm pretty sure people who do not like homosexuals, since they use homophobic, transsexuals, transphobic, aren't afraid of these people. Just don't like them. So, from here on out, I will use the word anti-trans or anti-gay from referring to that. Because, again, words and terms have meanings. But anyway, so they're accusing him of being anti-trans because he didn't want to let this transgender woman kiss him. Which, here's the thing. Because, first of all, as I watched it, once he has told this person that he is not interested in what she's selling, it's over with. The conversation is over with. Okay? Once you attempt to kiss him, that could be seen as sexual assault, because as we have seen, as that is the flavor of the day, there's been people fired, sued, and so on over that very thing. And I can guarantee you that if the roles were reversed and that had been male on female, then people would be calling for this guy's head. But because he's a brother, and we don't have that same type of response. But of particular interest is what I'm finding, because I've seen certain articles about this, is that people that are transgender that are saying that heterosexual men or women or whatever don't want to date them once they find out that they are now living as the opposite sex of their birth, and now they're accusing these people of being anti-trans because they don't want to date them, which is completely ridiculous. Because here's the thing, if somebody is a heterosexual, like taking myself for an example, I don't want a man of any flavor, whether he's been altered in the back or not, or wherever. I'm sorry, that's not what we want. We want natural born women. I mean, it's whatever. That's not what we want. Okay? And to say that somehow that if these people don't want to deal with you on that level, that somehow, one, they're wrong, is completely ridiculous. And then I'm even seeing, which is why, brothers and sisters, you have to be careful. So many brothers have tried to warn us about this, is that these other communities, whenever they get into a tizzy and something happens that they don't like, they try to compare it to being black and what we deal with. And that's what I'm seeing. I've seen a lot of people online and say, well, not wanting to date a person who's transgender is just as racist or racist as someone not wanting to date someone merely because they are black, which that's such a false equivalency. And see, this is why we have to be careful. This is why so many people, once again, have tried to warn us about allowing these groups to try to integrate, and I'm using air quotes here, their struggle or equate it with that of our own, because it is not. Because I don't care. You can take the biggest handkerchief head, the biggest Sambo, the biggest bed wench, the biggest Olivia Pope, whatever. The end of the day, even with skin bleaching, they are still black. They are still black. Okay? Couldn't help that. But a person who decides to go through whatever hormone therapy or medical surgeries or whatever you have to do to change their gender, see, that's a conscious decision. You were born a male and you decided to go female. See, there was a decision and there were acts that had to be carried out in order to reach that end, which is not the same as being born black and all of the things that go along with it. So how dare you attempt to do that? It's disrespectful, and it's a slap in the face to every black person that has faced real issues, faced real racism, been racially profiled, been followed around stores, beaten by police officers, killed by police officers, hung from trees, lynched, all these other things. And somehow, because someone doesn't want to date you, you're going to try to say that it's the same thing? How dare you? And that is exactly why you should get some of the blowback that you're getting. And you should be checked. But one of the problems is, for some reason, no matter what this community says, somehow it goes unchecked. Because even if it's righteous rebuking, somehow you immediately get stuck with the anti-trans label, which is completely ridiculous, because no community, no group of people should be above reproach. I don't care who you are. And I'm speaking of black people too, because no one has a problem when so many brothers and sisters call out the mess in our community. No one says anything about that. But for some reason, when it comes to the transgender community, the homosexual community, hell, even the Jewish community, somehow you can't say anything because you'll be branded anti-Semitic or anti-gay or anti-trans, which is just asinine. And you have to just look at what exactly is happening, because they're trying to make it seem like there's something wrong with you. If you're a woman and you don't want a transgender man, you just want a regular man, somehow they'll say that something is wrong with you, which is ridiculous. I have seen people in restaurants who are vegetarians pitch a fit over whether their food was cooked in a pan that meat was cooked in. So if you can imagine people getting that angry over finding out about something that they eat and where it may have came from, then you can imagine how angry or how a person would react to a dating situation in which they thought they were getting one thing and turns out they're getting another, and they may not have been interested in the first thing. So, excuse me, I'm sorry. So, when I looked at this whole situation, this was the first thing that came to mind, in that if they allow this to persist, and I hope, because this news of this just broke, I hope he doesn't apologize. He'd better not, because he shouldn't have to, because he didn't do anything wrong. First of all, whether you are gay, straight, or whatever, first of all, no one, and I mean no one, has the right to enter your personal space if you don't want them to. That was strike one. Well, strike two, actually. Because strike one was once he said, like I said, that he wasn't shopping in your section of the grocery store, the conversation should have been over. You know, there are many people who may have issue with the transgender community for whatever reason. I'm not going to get into all of that, or the homosexual community. And they may, they say that they force themselves in acceptance of what it is that they do onto others. And for the most part, I've been kind of in neutral about that. My thing is, to a large extent, live and let live. But this is a prime example of just that. Now, the man just told you that he wasn't down with what you were doing, or not what you were doing, but what you were in terms of in a dating, romantic setting. So that was it. That was the period at the end of that sentence. Let's turn the page and move on. You decided to try to kiss this man, and then when he had an adverse reaction, all of a sudden, they're trying to paint this man as the victim. I'm not the victim, the villain. And it's ridiculous. And I don't know where this sense of entitlement came from, that somehow, because you are of a certain, sexual orientation, persuasion, or however you choose to term it, that somehow that entitles you to almost force yourself on someone, and it's supposed to be okay. What you did was not cool, because, I'm a man. If I tried to kiss on some woman who didn't want it, I might get locked up. At the very least, I could lose my job, or, I could face some other adverse effects. But somehow, nothing was seen wrong with this person's actions. And I say it was. And I hope not only she should be kicked off the show, because that wasn't right. Because you just don't do that. And I think we have to take notice of this, because like I said, I'm seeing more and more of this type of mindset among, I won't say all, because I'm not going to paint with a broad brush, among some people in the transgender community. And what's scary is they have people caping for them that are making this okay. So, I don't know. I think it's not cool, this person did. I don't even know if I should say salute to Ginuine. He was just doing what anyone else would do if you didn't want, if someone was making an advance at you that you weren't interested in. It happens all the time. There was no, nefarious or not nefarious. That's not even the word I want to use. That there was some sort of adverse intent. The man just wasn't interested. People get curbed all the time. Pick up your face and move on. That's all I got.